Hi, I'm Jenny from Noli Bean, where modern quilting meets color, creativity, and joy. And today we are diving into the beautiful world of color theory for quilters. So this video is a companion video to the full blog post that is up on the blog. And so if you want to dive deeper into this topic, be sure to read the blog post that is linked below. And so when I first began quilting, my fabric choices were largely based on intuition. I would just grab whatever caught my eye, what I thought looked good together, and I would just dive right in, experimenting along the way. Some quilts looked really good, other quilts, not so much. But when I made this Purple State Avenue that is on the screen, I really loved it, like a whole lot when I made it. But why? So through all of my experimentation, I started to learn why certain fabrics went well together and while others didn't. And so let's start with the basics. This blog post and video start the discussion about color theory. So, what is color theory? At its core, color theory is the study of how colors interact with each other and how they can be combined to create visually pleasing results. It's that beautiful intersection between art and science that helps us as quilters understand how to evoke certain emotions and balance and harmony in our quilts. And so by learning even just the basics of color theory, you can bring a new level of intention to your fabric selection and make your quilts feel more balanced and cohesive. And so really that all gets started with the color wheel. And the color wheel is your best friend when it comes to choosing fabric. It shows the relationships between colors and helps you build color palettes and fabric pools with purpose. So before we go deeper, let's kind of get to know the basics. The color wheel is made up of 3 different types of colors. So first are the primary colors. Those are the ones that we all first learn about in elementary school. They're the foundational hues, red, blue, and yellow, that all other colors are built off of these hues. And you cannot mix any other colors to create these. So then we have our secondary colors. Again, we learned about these in grade school. They're part of what make up the rainbow. Red and yellow mix together to make orange. Yellow and blue make green. Blue and red make purple. Now let's get into tertiary colors, and this is where it starts to get fancy. So these are created by mixing primary colors with their neighboring secondary colors. So think of blends like a red-orange, a yellow-green, a blue-violet, and things like that. So if you want to play around with a color wheel, Adobe does offer a free interactive color wheel, and you can find it at the link on this image. So we all kind of have our go-to colors, the ones that we tend to gravitate towards, but the color wheel will help us explore and kind of go beyond that comfort zone. So by understanding color relationships, you can build a more diverse fabric stash and then also feel ready to create projects that are both dynamic while remaining balanced. And believe it or not, even if you don't know anything about color theory, you may already be using it. So if you ever notice the little color swatches that are sometimes found on the selvage of your fabric, those little swatches will indicate the main colors or all of the colors that are used in that particular print. And so fabric designers carefully select colors for their line based on color theory. And so by using the little swatches in the selvage, it helps you, the quilter, select complementary fabrics to go with the fabric that you've selected. So now let's kind of take a look at an example in practice. So both of the quilts on this page are use like a rainbow fabric pull. So one of my favorite quilts I've made, which is a rainbow Desert Cove, the one on the right, uses colors from all 3 categories. There's primary, secondary, and tertiary colors in there. So the addition of those tertiary colors, think the pink, the lime green, the teal, those add a coolness to this quilt that really help make it stand out. And so now compare that against the orange wood quilt on the left side of the screen that only includes the primary and secondary colors of like a Roy G. Biv kind of fabric pull. So next, let's think about how colors are often divided into two categories. I'm sure you've heard this before. You've got warm colors and cool colors. Warms are your red, oranges, yellows. Cool are the blues, greens, and purples. And understanding this distinction will help you create balance in your work. Warm colors tend to feel very energetic and inviting, while cool colors evoke calmness and tranquility. And so depending on the mood that you're looking for your quilt, you can choose a color palette that leans towards either the warm colors or the cool colors. And then finally, there are three key properties of color. We've got the hue, value, and saturation. Hue is the basic building block. Hue is basically just the color itself. Red, blue, green. It's usually what we mean when we say the word color. Next up, we've got value, which is light to dark contrast, and value refers, again, just to how light or dark a color is. And this is a game changer in quilting because value really helps create contrast and depth. And then finally, you've got saturation, which is how bright or how muted a color is. And so why do these properties matter? So if you understand these properties, you can kind of help understand why a block might feel too blendy. You know, maybe you need to add more value contrast to the block. Why does a quilt feel too loud? You can try softening the saturation or throw in some neutrals to help balance it. And another thing is sometimes fabrics just feel off and it's difficult to explain why. But sometimes it's explained by just the hues don't align with the color scheme that you're going for. So I hope you've enjoyed this introduction into color theory for quilters. I will be back soon with part 2. And don't forget to check out the blog post for a deeper dive into this. And again, until next time, happy sewing and thank you for watching.